Let's be honest, there's no guidebook when it comes to relationships. So we end up having to stumble through life trying to figure things out for ourselves. What if there was a podcast that found the answers for you, that provided insight to build a successful relationship and ultimately find the companionship you've always hoped for? Welcome to the Girls Ask Guys show, where we answer the questions most people are afraid to ask when it comes to lessons in life and love. It's time to master this thing called life together with your hosts, John and Ashley.
And welcome back, everyone. I want to give you a quick trigger warning, as the kids say, because we're going to be discussing sexual assaults. We're going to be discussing catfishing, betrayal. It's probably the most disgusting thing we've talked about so far, I think. And it's going to get rough. So if you're very sensitive, you might want to go to a different episode.
Yeah, because we have touched on something like this in the past with our Onision episodes and our Jessica Yaniv episodes and stuff like that. This trails along the same thing, but this one gets even worse.
This is probably the worst predator that we have uncovered so far. Well, one of the worst ones that we've uncovered and that we've chosen to do a story about. And I am a huge fan of the entire platform that this person had. I was a huge fan of this person before they got on Drag Race. I've been following them for probably about 4 or 5 years, and to hear about this really kind of like shook me. You know, like as a fan of the person. Obviously, I'm not a fan anymore, but I would never in my life imagine that someone would be this crazy.
So I've really never heard of them until Ashley brought to my attention. And unfortunately, I don't receive the episode or the shows that they were on the services that I stream from. So, and actually, my interests actually lie in more of crime and documentaries and clothing and fashion and all that kind of stuff. So,
yeah, somehow
go
drag
figure.
has eluded him, but he loves clothing and fashion. But we're talking about today.
It's just a different. It's a different type of fashion.
Yeah, it's very different.
It's
type.
very more flamboyant than. So
it's a little bit. Yeah, you're right. It's a little bit more flamboyant than just your average sports coat. But we are talking about Sherry Pie today. If you guys don't know who Sherry Pie is the drag name of Joey Guglielmelli, who was on season 12 of RuPaul's Drag Race. One of my absolute favorite shows that I've been watching since season 1. I pretty much know everything about it. The only thing that rivals my love for Drag Race is probably my love for banana cream pie. And if you know anything about me, it's my favorite thing in the entire world. So what happened was Sherry Pie gets on the show. They do this whole thing before every season where you meet every contestant. You meet Sherry Pie. About 2 weeks later, an entire Facebook post comes out about how Sherry Pie is a complete and utter sociopath. And I don't say that lightly because I don't like that word being thrown around. What Sherry Pie did was pretend to be a casting agent named Allison Morsi. I think it's Morrison.
I think Mossy.
Mosley. Yeah, it's Allison something. Mossy. Yeah, Allison Mossy. And she pretended to be a casting agent and would be catfishing men for not just, a shirtless picture, not just a nude picture, but videos of them masturbating. I mean, we're talking having them taking steroids and really altering their bodies. And it's to a degree where while there aren't technically laws against this feels very illegal to me.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there is currently, because nothing physically happened, there was no physical damage or anything else like that. There really isn't a law against creating an alternate persona online, and yeah. I mean, it's done all over the place, and until something actually physically happens and there is physical damage done. Because as far as we know, unless Sherry actually released the videos, that we'll get to how all those were created, unless she actually released those videos online to the public without consent of the other person, there's technically no laws broken.
Which is just kind of shitty, because people like that, while yes, they're hiding behind the law, if they don't, I don't think Sherry obviously lost her platform, was edited almost completely out of Drag Race to the point where she even won one of the challenges and they completely edited it out. And that kind of sucks because, you know, you work 12 years to be a drag queen, you finally get on the best drag queen show there is, mainstream, and you get your platform yanked away. But the thing is, she didn't stop before she got on Drag Race. Up to the time she was done filming and a little bit after, she was still, or he was still doing, because that's not she, that's Joey doing that. I'm not going to say that that's Sherry Pie. That's Joey Guglielmelli fucking literally catfishing people up until about 4 months before he got caught. Yeah. 4 fucking months.
Yeah, because this story originally broke in Instinct Magazine. Mm-hmm. So instinctmagazine.com. On March 5th. So that's where the original story debuted, and this came like literally days after the original victim who stepped up and posted everything on his Facebook page. And they went in depth. They went and they called this person to check the credibility. And he started mentioning other people that he had talked to, and they checked those, and yeah, they had text, they had all of the, or a good majority of all of the emails and everything else that went back and forth. So let's break this down as to how all of this started.
Yeah. It's like I said, if you are a very sensitive person, it's freaking insane. And so you might want to, if you have kids in the car, just turn this off. Like, stop. You know what I mean? Like, just don't ever.
The main thing that you need to take away from this is that this is how a lot of this stuff happens. Because when you take a look at victim statistics, the vast majority of victims are victimized by somebody that they know.
Absolutely. And if you feel like you're being catfished by somebody you know, confront them. Also, as we get through the story, because I have one of them pulled up that we're probably going to read word for word. But as you go through the story, do me a favor, because I know a lot of people are going to think, well, why didn't they just stop? You have to remember these are young guys who are very, very, very desperate to be in the entertainment industry. And if you've ever wanted to be anything, when someone gives you that attention, you're going to do whatever it takes to get there. You know what I mean? Yeah. So while it may seem like they were young and they were young and dumb, they were naive. They didn't know it was happening. And it really, I mean, this isn't, whatever the thin line between psychotic and genius is, this is on the other side of that line.
And having worked with Hollywood and having worked in the modeling industry, I have insights as to how this stuff works. Now, I've never done stage plays, which is, you're looking at the difference between a dog and a wolf.
Right.
Canine family, different animal.
Exactly. So we're not going to name the victim's name, obviously, because
yeah, if you want the victims' names and stuff like that,
go look it up.
You can look it up. It's on BuzzFeed News. It's on Apple News. It's on a lot of different stories have come out, and I've read just about almost every last single one of them.
They're heartbreaking.
And each one has a small different take on the same story. So kind of have to read all of it in order to get the full picture.
Right. And we're going to, so we're just going to read one. It's pretty long, but we can get through it. And we'll probably periodically stop and just discuss the fucking psychology behind it all. All right. So I attended Cortland State University musical theater program with Sherry Pie, one of the contestants that will make a debut this week on this week's episode of Drag Race. It was Sherry who exposed me to the show. At the time, she was a junior. The show was in the midst of their 5th season, and personalities like Alaska and Detox made me fall in love with the culture, and I strive to take part in. Sherry and I also had extensive history beyond our time at Cortland. In the summers, we worked together at Summerstock Theater in a small town in western Michigan. In all, we performed in more than 15 shows together. I even performed as a dancer in 2 of her drag performances when she was still in Central New York. So, setting this up, you can see
they would have a history.
They're friends. You know what I mean? Like 15 shows in 3 summers. That's a lot of shows.
Oh hell yeah!
That's a lot of shows.
That's a lot of
5 years.
Yeah, it's going back and forth, but not just the show itself, but all the script readings, all of the costuming, the rehearsals, all that stuff, and
the traveling.
But you also have the all the interaction that takes place before the show, and then all the interaction after the show.
Yep.
And then
Cast
of course you got
parties,
the rap parties and stuff like that, the review parties.
So you become close to somebody when you're spending that much time with them. 15 shows during the summer, or 15 shows per summer. It's easy to become a family. You feel like that. If you've never been a part of a cast of any sort, I urge you, or even like a group of any sort, when you go through at least 2 weeks alone with people, you develop a very, very familial sense with them.
Yeah.
And it's what happens. And then he goes on to say, this story takes its weird turn when I was a senior at Cortland. Sherry was no longer attending the school at this point. Another close friend of mine reached out to me and told me that there was an audition for a new play at the prestigious Playwright Horizons in New York City with a role that I was good for. He gave me an email for a woman named Allison Mosey, who immediately seemed interested in my work upon receiving my email. Alice and I went through an email thread that lasted over 150 emails in about 3 weeks. We covered topics of pay, living situations in the city, when I would have to leave school for rehearsals, and conversations about acting choices for the character. I had to film scenes that felt particularly sexual and awkward, but the opportunity seemed too good to let the overt sexual nature or my inhibitions get in the way. I simply told myself that my parents wouldn't be allowed to see the show, but I wanted the professional experience and the bright, shiny object on my resume.
Exactly. Now, for anybody who has no idea what Playwrights Horizons is, Playwrights Horizons is actually connected to New York University's Tisch School of the Arts.
Huge.
Yes, Tisch School of the Arts is
the standard behind Juilliard.
Pretty much, yeah. It is like the standard for like the last 50 years for anything dealing with
arts. Yeah.
Movies, television, stage plays, acting, dancing, even video game creation. If you want to know how to be a person who does costuming and makes the costumes, designs the costumes for any movie or television play, stage play, this is the school that you go to.
It's literally, I would put it above Yale School of Acting. It is where it is.
It is the hardest school to get into as far as professional arts is concerned.
Absolutely.
Now, Playwrights Horizon is associated with that. They run to the same standards. Now, look at Tisch School of the Arts as that's your graduate program. You can actually earn a PhD there. Playwrights Horizons is like the community college version of it.
Nice.
So you can earn an undergraduate degree with going through here. And if you're looking at going on Broadway, this is where they test everything. Okay, does this have an audience? Does it get good reviews? If it gets good reviews there, then it goes from there straight to Broadway.
So here he is presented with this opportunity, and it's amazing. I mean, it's kind of like, John, if you were to get a fucking email from someone at Vogue Italia, like, hey, would you like to come to Italy for a week and shoot with us? You know what I mean? Because we've seen your work. It's that kind of shit, where someone is offering you the chance of a lifetime, and they say, well, if you want to take pictures, maybe send us some pictures of your feet so we can see how you photograph. And you're like, you know what? Sounds weird, but fuck it. I want to go to Italy and shoot for Vogue Italia.
But going from little tiny itty bitty, almost unheard of, play centers, and stepping up to Playwrights Horizons, where they've had people get Pulitzer prizes for the plays that are put on there.
Yep.
I mean, you're stepping from, okay, I'm doing this play written by Joe No Name, and
now I'm doing Tennessee Williams. Absolutely.
And now I'm stepping up to Pulitzer Prize winning playwrights on a stage that's going to get me some recognition. What do I need to do?
Right. And you're willing. And when it comes to the entertainment industry, and this isn't just plays or movies, this is pretty much every aspect of the entertainment industry. You have to do what the fuck you have to do. And sometimes it can be a little weird. Everybody does a little strange for some change every so often in the entertainment industry. So what he's saying is, because I know people say, well, why would he do that? Why would he degrade himself? Because he has the opportunity of a fucking lifetime. And if that just means you have to see a few naked pictures of me,
people have done a lot more for a lot less.
A lot more for a lot less. And that's the thing.
Especially when you don't understand exactly how the industry operates.
Works. Yeah, it's not standard for any of the shit, by the way.
These people, they're 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 years old, and they just kind of have an idea of how the industry works. So they're like, okay, I've been talking to owner of Playhouse who introduced me to
the casting agent,
the director of the play. Well, there's no casting agent. You're just working directly with the director.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I get what you're saying.
And now I'm stepping up and to like professional productions. Now I have to go through casting agents and casting directors in order to get to the producers who's going to get me in front of the director who says, okay, this person is right for the play. Right. So they don't understand how that works.
And this is a lesson for everyone who's trying to get into the entertainment industry also. Do yourself a favor, and I mean this, and because of this story, I never really thought about it now, but educate yourself on how the system works. Figure out what the right steps are, what the proper steps are. Get a fucking agent if you have to, and just really allow someone to help you along the way.
And with that, get a reputable agent. Right. Because serious agents, and this is coming from my working with Hollywood, serious agents are going to belong to a guild or a recognized agency. And you're not going to have to pay them. They get paid when they get you a job.
I was going to say that too. I was going to say, you don't pay agents. If your agent says they need a down payment, head for the fucking hills because you're getting robbed. Agents get paid when you get paid. Sometimes it's an exorbitant amount, but they don't get paid until you do.
Yeah, there is like a standard fee or a standard guild wage that they will earn based on the contract that you get. And sometimes it steps up and sometimes it's just going to be flat amount. But they don't get paid until you get paid. Now, I don't care if you want to become a background actor, because you can do that. There's a background actors guild. There's an extras guild. So if you want to be an extra in a film, you may get a speaking role, you may not. But if you say one line in that movie and it's put in that movie, you get a screen credit, which puts you into the Screen Actors Guild. So you can go from background to extra to Screen Actors Guild. It's kind of like you're stepping up, opening up more parts.
And it's very easy to get into SAG-AFTRA too. If you're in that, like honestly, it's literally one line.
Stage, you can actually get you can be or get into SAG by being on stage. If you get into a Broadway play, guess what? You get a SAG card.
SAG eligible. Gotta hit that one. SAG eligible. I've been SAG eligible. I've met so many people who are SAG eligible. I just wonder, like,
I think there is like an annual thing that there's like an annual fee that you pay, but that's if you want like some of the additional perks that come with it, because you can become a SAG card holder and pay absolutely nothing. But if you want like the insurance and stuff like that that comes with it, the group insurance policy, there's additional fees that go along with that. That's getting way further in depth than I wanted to go.
Yeah, we're going way further into this. We're just giving you some insight as to how complicated almost this is too. So when you start to want to blame the victim, just remember this isn't a very simple process. So where was I? Shawnee up with the Mars. Okay, so then he goes on to say, there are a few days where I wouldn't get any response from Allison at all. I eventually would email her asking for a response. I was considering dropping out of school for this opportunity. Eventually, she got back to me and said she hadn't responded because she had no internet access. I found this hard to believe, being that she was working for one of the premier theaters in New York City. I eventually grew wearisome of the back and forth that seemed to be going nowhere and reached out to the Playwrights Horizons directly to ask them about their relationship with Allison Mossy. The person that I contacted notified me that nobody within that company had ever heard of her. Wow.
And that's just another one of those little tidbits. This person just up and disappeared, but we're supposed to be casting for this play.
Right.
And again, going back and knowing how some of the stuff works on the film side, when somebody starts filming it or they start casting, it means that filming is like right around the corner. There's one of these victims. I don't believe it's mentioned in what you're going over, but it's another story that was over
one of the more mild stories.
Yeah, it was. I think it came from one of the BuzzFeeds. They were going back and forth for 7 months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was gonna read that one, but it's graphic.
But they were going back and forth for 7 months, and that to me just again is because of what I know. And if these people, and I think that was for an HBO production. This was not for a stage production. So Sherry actually upgraded and made this thing more and more in depth and became very, very clear that she had information on how this stuff works, and then twisted it
to just for something so arbitrary, something so stupid that you wouldn't even think that it's necessary. I mean, like John said, there's another story they went back and forth for 7 months. Is that the steroids one? Because there's one where she had a guy using steroids.
No, this is the one where, according to Allison, quote unquote, Allison told Sherry to work with this person on helping them to become better for the part to get casted. Okay, the casting director, all they do is go, this is what the director told me they wanted. Okay, this person fits, this person fits, this person fits, presents that to the director, and the director goes, that one. That's what the casting director's job is. And it's the director that is actually going to sit there and look at the performance, not sit there and coach these people to get better at the performance. That is not the casting director's job. Can you read? Do you look good on camera? That's all we need to know.
And these poor kids have no idea. And it's really sad. I mean, I just think it's really sad what happens, because the more in depth, so that the one we just read, the excerpt we just read from was a very mild case of the Sherry Pie fever. That's what I like to call it. But in other ones, I mean, she's doing these things. She was paying for one of the guy's apartments.
Well, there was the one that I was not that particular one. Another one. There's 6 victims that have stepped forward on this. One of the victims, she actually went to his apartment.
Yeah.
And filmed. They were helping him film a quote unquote scene from a bogus script that she put together.
Which is fucking pathological, man. You know what I mean? Like, that is pathologically crazy.
There are ways to. I've actually gone to college to learn how to write movie scripts, and the person that was. And I call them person because there's no way they had any clue what the fuck they were talking about.
Right.
Came up and handed out a script, quote unquote script. This is what a script looks like. And I was like, what, are we shooting this? And, oh, no, that's just the script. And said, no, this is a production script. This isn't a script. Where's the script? I mean, there's ways of noticing how different scripts are written. So there's a television script looks different from a stage script, which also looks different from a movie script. If you're interested in getting into acting or anything like that, become very familiar with the scripts that you are looking at.
Yeah.
Because she goes through and she starts describing what this character is, and they have to know how and kind of like feel the character. That's up to the writers and the director's interpretation.
See, but I think what happened was, and as technical as we can get with this, I think one of the big issues that happened was this. They considered Sherry a friend, and Sherry was technically a friend of Allison's. So in their mind, what was happening was they had the inside scoop. Yeah, like they were getting like the hookup, you know what I mean? That Sherry wasn't manipulating them. They were just lucky to be so plugged into an industry. And that's just fucked up, you know?
Yeah, having that inside scoop into the industry, or that inside, or you don't have to go through all the gatekeepers in order to get there.
Exactly.
You're going in through the side door.
Yep, and that's probably what they fucking thought. Those poor innocent, guys. I mean, like I said, and it was to the point where she was paying for one of the guys' apartments. She was paying their fucking bills, dude. Like borrowing from her parents and paying their bills. That's fucking crazy, yo. Like,
in order to get your own
fucking TV show, like your own, like to get nudes from someone, to get attention, to get what, and then she gets caught, and then she makes that bullshit ass apology that was insane.
And there's this whole sexual undertone. And now, according to the interview that this one reporter did, he actually asked the victim about how all of this came about. And because it talks about the sexually natured videos. And these people actually did videos and sent them in kind of like, I understand the character. Are you going to hire me? Do I have a shot? Oh, hold on. Wait, we need more.
We need more.
Yeah.
One picture of your penis isn't enough. We need 8. We need to see videos. You need to start taking steroids, which I don't know.
And he comes back and he describes sex as a common topic on stage. Okay. I really don't care what you're watching, whether it's on stage, on TV, or in the movies. It's almost, it's on bulletin boards for every product you can possibly think of. So, but he's sitting there, and he says he didn't really think much of it, but if it's not clearly stated for the audition, then it later changes. That sends up red flags. That's almost everything. That's why actors in Hollywood, they will get updates in the script. They get the base script, and if there's any rewrites, they're hand delivered
immediately. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So you read the script before you even accept the part. Yep.
I don't think like I said, I really think there was a big manipulation tactic to where these men really thought they were on the inside of, they were going through the side door, like you said. And the truth was, they weren't going through any doors. They were, and it's not funny. It's just very hard not to be uncomfortable when I talk about this, because this is a person, Sherry Pie, Joey, whoever you want to call him. He is someone who is very, very talented. That's the thing that irks the shit out of me. Incredibly talented, incredibly personable. I mean, you watch interviews with the person, you watch shows with the person. I've been to a drag show with Sherry Pie, and it's a transcendental experience. But to see someone who's so talented and so good at what they do just be a fucking pervert is like,
it's kind of like the news that we got about Bill Cosby.
Yeah, it's not the same, but it's
not the same, but it's not exactly the same, but it's running along the same lines. I mean, he was more overt. I mean, he just straight up drugged them.
Yeah, it was bad.
This one, I mean, they toyed with them, but how can you pass a law for emotional trauma? How can you put a price tag on that?
Please don't hurt this person emotionally. You know what I mean? Like, I know exactly what you mean, because it's technically not illegal, but that's what makes it worse. And to me, it's like Sherry Pie isn't dumb. Sherry Pie knew that it wasn't illegal.
Yeah, they're kind of skirting along that grayish area between
right and wrong, which is not even gray.
It's kind of like
fucking forward to me.
Yeah, it's
don't. You know what I mean? Like, don't.
A normal, rational thinking person doesn't do this, and that's what makes it so.
It's so irrational. It's so irrational. There's so many different steps that should not have been taken, but it's bonkers to me. I mean, think about this. It's one thing to catfish people. I think if you're a product of the 90s, you were catfishing predators on the internet all the time. And that's just because it was funny, and they're also predators. But to catfish somebody, alter their body, pay their fucking bills, dude.
Yeah, I mean, this goes beyond.
What? Who does that?
Another factor that kind of has to be thought into this is, if you look at the studies done back in the 1960s, where you had the psychologist or the doctor had somebody step in and they had to push the button in order to cause pain to the person on the other. They're hurting. He's crying out in pain. Keep pushing the button, please. but I'm to keep pushing the button.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, because he's dressed in a lab coat and he's pretending to be a doctor, and this isn't a doctor.
Oh, yeah, those were those authority fucking tests, which I thought were weird and cruel and unnecessary.
Well,
that's just me.
But they were weird and cruel, and they did cause the person who was pushing the buttons trauma because they literally thought they killed somebody.
Right, which, I mean...
But still, this is the same thing, because you're Allison Mossy, or however you pronounce that fucking name. That's the imaginary authority figure who's passing the authority on to Sherry, who is sitting there, and they are now in charge, and they have control over your supposed career vector.
Right?
Because of me, I can take you to new heights, new opportunities. You get your dream. I'm the gatekeeper. Do what I say.
Yeah, and then, like they said, sometimes I wouldn't hear from Allison at all. Okay, well, honestly, if a casting director said to me, I don't have internet, I would have a huge red flag. And I know that because I know me, and I don't trust very many people. But once again, you're blinded by this idea that you're going to go far. I mean, if you live in New York City, sometimes there's rolling blackouts. So maybe you can do all the mental gymnastics in the freaking world to justify what happened. But at the end of the day, the truth is you are just being preyed on by some psychopath who needs a lot of help.
And the fact that all of these people that Sherry was catfishing and manipulating, every last single one of them, she knew. It wasn't just one person. And the thing is that there's 6 people, and it was like 2, 3, 4 degrees of separation. All of them were interconnected somehow. They either acted with Sherry, or they went to the same school, or they were in the same place. Everybody had interconnected, but they really didn't associate with each other. And that was kind of interesting to me, because they really didn't talk to each other at all.
Right. They really didn't. They had pretty much no idea that they were all...
One of them was worked for Disney Cruises and was actually considering passing on a very lucrative job with Disney to go on this fake TV show that was under HBO Productions. And he just happened to walk into that shop, that little coffee shop, overheard this conversation. I'm going through this lengthy audition for this new HBO production that's going to be coming out. That perked his ears up, and then asked the question, really, which one? Well, I'm working with Ashley Mossy and...
Yeah, Allison Mossy. I'm Ashley.
Or Allison Mossy. Yeah, sorry. Ashley, Allison Mossy. But yeah, and then all of a sudden, boom, they start comparing notes and find out the whole thing is fake.
So that's how you know that karma's real, because the chances of that happening are just so small to me. And the fact that they were all able to, or that those two were able to meet up, they were able to kind of be like, oh shit, so this is fuck. And I'm sure there were a lot of tears shed. I'm sure I don't know how they didn't go whoop his ass, because I think that speaks highly of their character.
What really pissed me off was, I'm not going to mention the name of the podcast. However, the show is out there, so you can go look it up. It's on YouTube. But the Wendy Williams show, where they actually turned around and blamed these guys for not doing the research.
It's their fault.
Yeah, it's their fault.
It's not the person who decided to be a pathological, literal psychopath, and do all that shit. Like, it's not that person. It's the
turned into a big joke
desperate. Right. It was the people who were desperate.
And it's really not even a desperation. This is our dream. And I was thinking this is going to take me 10 years, 15 years, 20 years to make that dream happen.
Yeah.
But no, it's going to land in my lap right now.
But it's their fault, and we should make fun of them. And I've seen a lot of Sherry Pie fans who are minimizing the situation, which irks the fuck out of me, man. I can't tell you how annoying that shit is, because they're like, well, you just catfished them.
No, there's more to it than that. I mean, it's like we were discussing before we started the recording, the Larry Nassar thing that took place, and
175 years.
175 years of imprisonment. The judge actually passed down 1 year per victim.
Yeah.
He was like the lead doctor for the women's gymnastics team. And he did the same thing that this person did. He used how naive somebody was about medicine and sports medicine, and he molested 175 people. A lot of that actually took place with the parents actually watching it take place. They were in the same room. They were watching him perform these quote-unquote exams and quote-unquote stretching exercises.
Oh my God.
When this case went to court, I was a gymnastics instructor. So
I would have quit.
Well, I was teaching.
No, that would have been creepy if you quit. But you know what I mean. Like,
he was working at the Olympic level, which is where any person who is in a level gymnastics program wants to get. They want to go from level 1 to on the Olympic team, and not just the Olympic team, but the selected Olympic team that's going to the Olympics. And well, you can't quit. You have to give yourself 100%. You have to do this. You have to do this. Here's all the steps you have to go through.
Yeah.
But we're the gatekeepers.
We're the gatekeepers. We allow people in. And the thing is, when you have that position of power, like Sherry or like, what's his name? Lester? Because I feel like his name's Lester.
Oh, Larry?
Yeah, Larry. Lester, the child molester. You know what I mean? Like, but no, seriously, when you have that position of power and you use it for that fucking reason to literally just harm people.
Well, this, according to the story,
they don't even realize it.
Yeah, according to the story, he asked about it, and he said that at first he went through shock, and then he was so embarrassed and so ashamed of everything that he had done, because really it didn't hit him. Yeah, even though he was uncomfortable doing all the photos and videos and everything else and doing everything that was asked of him. And then he found out the whole thing was fake.
Can you fucking imagine? I can't fucking imagine.
Well, it's kind of like these people, and this one really irks me, is all these people that are coming out and, oh, I was in the military and this, that, and the other, and their stories are like completely...
false valor?
I mean, everything is completely fake, and all it is to get sympathy, getting attention, getting the girl, or whatever their motivation is. And some of them, they have gone on, I think there was one, they went on Oprah and told their story, and people were in the audience crying, and the whole thing was nothing but a huge lie.
That's crazy.
I have met people who have been awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor. When I was in the Marines, the sergeant's course that I went to, they were named the building after a awardee of Congressional Medal of Honor. He came and spoke. He told his story, and he was there with another recipient of the Medal of Honor. And you listen to them and you hear what they have to say, and then compare that to all of these other jokers. These guys are very quiet. They don't talk about it. These people over here are shouting from the rooftops.
Why would they want to? Like, that's my thing.
They get money. They get recognition. They get their stories published. They get all this attention and everything. And damn, all they had to do is just fabricate a story.
But then you get caught lying in your entire life. Like, do you remember, I don't know if you remember the lady who lied about 9/11? It's the same thing. I mean, she made up this whole story. She even, she even became, like, the head of one of the coalitions or what the fuck ever. But she made up this whole entire story, and then turns out she's fucking lying. And everyone's like, we hate you now. You know what I mean? It's that kind of thing. I don't understand why people abuse these powers and then think they're not going to get caught. Like, what the fuck?
Just going back through, now I haven't watched the episodes or anything else, so I'm just going off the information that I have, but just going back through the Drag Race alumni, Robbie Turner lied about being in a car wreck. No, Robbie Turner
faked the car wreck. I remember that. Pretend like they were in a fucking Uber accident. I remember that drama, but that's my thing. Robbie Turner came before Sherry Pie. And so Robbie got straight up canceled. And I remember because I was never a big Robbie Turner fan. Robbie Turner always kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But, I mean, there's a few Drag Race alums who are fucking
But that one
insane.
was done out in public. This one, the whole Sherry thing was behind the scenes.
Right.
So,
but eventually you get caught. Like,
and your life comes to an end.
Your life comes to, right. Like, what the fuck? You just, you are so fucking bold. You are so fucking bold and so fucking tough that you decide you've humiliated a bunch of people and now you're going to go on a show, one of the biggest LGBT shows in history, and think you're going to just get away with it?
No, that's what they're hoping for, because he's hoping that 6 degrees separation. Oh, I'm not Mossy. I'm not Cat. I know her,
right?
But I'm not. That's not me.
Just an old friend of mine.
Yeah. Okay. Well, call her up and let's go meet her.
Yeah, let's go meet her. Yeah, tell her me and her would like to meet you. That's the thing, and I feel so bad for these guys because, like you said, people have turned it into jokes. People have turned their lives that. Like, remember, some of these people were considering leaving college. Some of them were considering
passing on
leaving
jobs, lucrative jobs.
For this fucking site, for this cunt to just really ruin their lives, and then to have the audacity to go on national TV is just.
Well, another thing is that a lot of these people, they lived in like Nebraska and Michigan. They didn't live in New York, so they would have to put down everything and move to New York, and that's apparently where this casting director was located, was in New York. So it's not like they could just up and go to the office and meet them in person.
They had to they had to fucking try, man. Like, it's different, you know?
Yeah, and then you're not just
weird.
Yeah, and it's not like you're just going to walk into the offices of Playwrights Horizons and go, right. I'm here to meet this person. No, you need an appointment.
Can you imagine how embarrassing? Well, honestly, it probably would have saved them some embarrassment if they did that, now that I think about it.
Even still, they didn't know how that whole thing
worked. Yeah.
And
it just sucks.
Yeah, I think she created the whole HBO thing in order to kind of raise it up. Hey, we're going from stage to screen.
Right.
And now we're playing in that world is called the major minors. They're small production companies. You're not talking, it's not Universal or Warner Brothers, but these are big players in the whole TV and movie industry. I mean, hell, we've got Amazon Studios now. They sold books. Now they have their own studio.
Right.
So,
well, guys, that's kind of it. I mean, I think we've beat Sherry Pie to death. Unfortunately,
no, we didn't.
Metaphorically,
we didn't do it as good as I was really hope. But
I didn't want to get too in depth because I think people need to go read that shit for themselves. It's very hard to believe when you don't read it for yourself. When I heard about it, I was like, "There's no way someone's that fucking crazy." You know what I mean? Like, there's no. And then I started reading, and I was watching video after video, and I was like, "Oh my god, this person's a fucking nutcase! What the fuck? What do you mean you were paying for the man's apartment? What do you mean you were making them take steroids? Like, what the hell are you doing? Who are you? Why are you?"
Yeah.
And then to come up with that bullshit, I never learned to love myself apology.
That whole thing. No, I'm not buying that at all.
At all. Like, what do you mean?
I've heard different confessions given. And that's
it's true because you're law enforcement.
Different apologies, and that's not.
Is that like one of the worst ones
it doesn't measure up.
I feel like I've seen politicians give better apologies.
Bill Clinton gave a better apology. I'm sorry.
Like, come on.
I mean, he got caught not just on the national.
Let me see if I can pull it up.
International stage.
Let me pull it up. Hold on. Give me about 2 minutes. Yeah, I mean, the apology is just ridiculous in every shape of the form because it's just so. It's so self-centered. All right, ready? I got it. In the words of Sherry Pie, who is also Joey Guglielmelli. This is Joey. I want to start by saying how sorry I am that I caused such trauma and pain and how horribly embarrassed and disgusted I am with myself.
For getting caught.
I am with myself. This is how disgusted I am with myself because I caused so much trouble. I know the pain. I know that the pain and the hurt I have caused will never go away, and I know that what I did was wrong and truly cruel. Okay. Until being on Drag Race, I never really understood how much my mental health and taking care of things meant. So until I was about to be famous, I did not know I should not catfish people.
Yeah.
I learned on the show that how important loving yourself is, and I don't think I've ever loved myself.
Yeah.
I mean, why would you?
Yeah.
You shouldn't love yourself.
Yeah,
and then it goes...
It wasn't until I got back to New York.
It wasn't until I got my ass caught. It says that I have been seeking help and receiving treatment since coming back to New York.
Take all your makeup away.
give me that corset, bitch. I truly apologize to everyone I have hurt with my actions. I also want to say how sorry I am to my sisters of season 12 and honestly the whole network and production company. All I can do is change the behavior, and it starts with me doing that work.
I'm surprised they don't sue him for having to go back and do all that editing.
Oh, yeah, right. All you can do, what you also can do is give somebody a fucking, like, I don't know, like $1, give those men, pay for their therapy.
Yeah. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that is going to haunt them for, and really is just every time they log in, okay, is this person real? Is this person real? I mean, it can actually drive somebody to paranoia. Oh,
it would drive me mad, yeah. And then one of the things that bothers me the most is the fans who are saying things like, we all make mistakes. Point where this was a mistake.
Yeah. Okay, maybe I shouldn't have broke into that car dealership and stole that car. I mean, it was just a mistake.
Damn it. Like, yeah, it's just a mistake. That is my biggest issue is people are saying, we all make mistakes, which is true. Don't get me wrong. No, we all do.
A mistake is like mistaking a banana pepper for a jalapeno. That's a mistake.
Yes, and a very painful one, might I add. Yeah, that's a mistake. Intentionally catfishing people, making them take steroids and paying for their apartments is calculated manipulation. There's a difference.
This is thought through. This is planned out. I mean, he sat down and he wrote out a fake script for the most bullshit premise I've ever heard of.
Like, what kind of shit is that? Think about the time and effort it takes this person to do all that shit. You could have, honestly, not to plug our course, but you could have gone through our course and literally found someone. Just saying. I know it's a shameless plug, but it just came to my mind.
Well, I mean, it actually does help. Kind of helps and shows people how to overcome and, hey, Joey, how to love yourself. So.
Right, yeah, Joey, if you're listening, like, you fucking idiot. But seriously, it's just amazing to me. Some of the queens that were New York queens reached out, because they don't want her to kill herself. And they were trying to reach out, and they realized she hadn't changed. And that was another red flag to me, because they're like, she's still up to her same old antics, her the same old manipulation. And we kind of just say we need to take a step back. And when people are willing to, like, forgive you for things of this nature, you kind of might want to turn those acting skills on and pretend like you're a good fucking person.
But the reason that this guy came out, the first victim, the reason he came out is because he saw that Sherry was going to go from one platform and a one-size audience to a much larger audience that they could reach out to and have more influence over.
Yeah.
Something like that can actually step off, and you can be there are people on the original show of Survivor that became movie stars.
Yep. I mean, there's plenty of queens out who have kind of crossed over into mainstream, not super mainstream, but to the point where they're doing extremely well in mainstream. And Sherry Pie could have been one of those queens, because Sherry Pie is very, as you can tell, a great actress, to say the least, and that's kind of, I don't think it's the sad part is that they lost their entire career. I think they don't deserve a career. They need to be working anonymously at some sort of customer service desk or something. But
they need to be a janitor over at some nondescript warehouse.
Really, like, you need to be someplace nobody can find you.
Isolated.
Really, like, you just need to, let's just send you to fucking Siberia. But really, when I think about it, I mean, the saddest part of all this is not only has she ruined the career of Sherry Pie, but these other people.
They could be. They might be able to bounce back.
Would you want to?
It's not something they would want to be remembered for.
Right. Aren't you the catfish guy?
It's better than being a person who was on top of the world and now they're, like, pretty much forgotten. Weren't you on that show? Mm-hmm. What was the name of that show again? But the premise would be my other word of warning, because the script, which we haven't touched on.
I haven't seen the script.
I haven't seen. I don't think there's any script, but the premise of it. Okay, it was a play that then became a supposed HBO production.
Okay, that's what happens.
This whole thing doesn't exist. HBO has nothing to do with it.
Oh my god!
But the play / TV series. Now you got to remember, this is going to be a series. This isn't like a movie. It's a series. on HBO called Bulk, B-U-L-K.
Oh, this is where the steroids comes in. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the premise of the entire play/series. It's a show about a guy who gets bigger and bigger and bigger until he fills the whole room. Now, this is supposed to be a musical. Okay, a musical play/musical HBO TV series based on The Little Mermaid. Now, I don't remember when The Little Mermaid actually became bigger and filled the ocean.
And bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah. I want to hear some of the songs. I want to see, because I believe there's a script. I believe somebody that calculated.
No, he did it himself.
I would love to read it.
Yeah. The 3 or 4 pages that he actually came up with. But
can you imagine being that? I just can't imagine being that crazy. It just feels like a lot of wasted time to me.
No, I'm sorry. No, it wasn't Little Mermaid. No, it was Nightmare Before Christmas. It was based off Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, was it based off the Santa Claus character? Because that's all I can think of.
I don't know, but to me, I'm trying to take this premise and trying to figure. I've seen the Nightmare Before Christmas. I really don't care for the director.
You don't care for Tim Burton?
There's a few things that he has, but
he's one of the best directors in history.
Well, to me, I have a hard. Some of his stuff I actually enjoyed, like Edward Scissorhands and stuff like that. But some of his animated stuff is just a little bit too strange. Not dark. It's just a little bit too. I don't find the humor in it. I mean, even when he did Batman, no, the original Batman was okay, but when he did Batman and Robin, there was a disconnect there for me. I couldn't follow it.
Who hates Batman? Yeah, I get you though, because I feel the same way kind of about Steven Spielberg sometimes. But
yeah,
whatever,
But even with all of that, yeah, if the script seems way the fuck out there, and they're trying to tell you, well, it's kind of a cross between this and this, and you can't make the connection, it probably isn't going to happen unless it's an indie film. And indie films are not made by major minors or the majors.
No, it's called independent for a reason.
Yes, they're usually low budget.
Yeah, very low budget. We're talking like we could probably shoot an indie film kind of budget. It would, you know what I mean? Like, it would be pretty decent. But what I'm saying is, yeah, I get what you're saying. I feel so bad for these guys all the time. Yeah. And all I can think of is that, this is...
Yeah, another thing is, pay attention to page count. So
yeah.
Somebody hands you a script and it's 500 pages. Yeah, it's not going to happen. I mean, you're talking about Kevin Costner nonsense.
Yeah. But just imagine how crazy someone has to be able to... I can't wrap my mind around someone being that fucking nuts, dude. Like, holy shit. Like, you construct a fake script. You do all these things. And this is years in the making. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, yeah, this went on from 2015 to this year, 2020.
Like, don't sit there and tell me I never learned to love myself. You had plenty of fucking opportunity while you were writing those dumbass scripts.
Yeah, you were able to sit there and go, I'm probably going a little bit too far.
Right. Nothing in your mind said, maybe I shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
Like, this seems, like, this is too far. Nothing seemed too far.
They did sit there and they came out and said he never told them to take steroids, but that was pretty much the implication.
But
I mean, there's just a lot out there, and if you want to go look it up for yourself, I mean, it's on BuzzFeed News, and from there you can follow it to Facebook, and if you want to read the original breakout story, well, like we said, that was on instinctmagazine.com.
Yeah, have fun. I mean, as far as Sherry Pie is concerned, the next thing I want to hear about Sherry Pie is that they are
behind
on
bars.
Some sort of, right, they're in some sort of trial because nothing they did was okay. Nothing they did was excusable. If you feel like what they did was okay, you personally need to go to therapy, because it's one thing, like I said, it's one thing to lie to somebody, but to manipulate them to the point where they're considering leaving their jobs, they're going, altering their bodies. They're doing all kinds of crazy shit. Like,
I mean, I wish I had, because I was raking my brain over it and just trying to think what kind of law could possibly be written. But again, you don't want to write a law that you're going to get a whole bunch of people. They're not doing anything. They're not out to hurt anybody. They just want something online so that they can feel more of who they are.
I feel like there's some sort of sexual abuse law that needs to be addressed. You know what I mean? Like, to me, it feels like sexual abuse, and it feels like that because it is that.
It is that. I mean, it's. But then again, these aren't minors. These are people who are of legal age,
and they did it on their own volition. Yeah,
on their own volition under false pretense.
Right, which means like fraud or something. I don't know. I wish she fabricated the company. Like, I wish she would have done so many different things.
Now, if she took all the videos that got stored out there in her Dropbox or her own little spank bank and released it to the world. Oh my God,
it's probably filthy.
Yeah, and released that to the world. I bet
you there's somebody who fucking knows. I bet you there has to be an accomplice. I find it very hard to believe there's no accomplice in this shit. You know what I mean? Like, there's no fucking way.
That would open them up to being caught faster.
Well, somebody would relay Allison's email and name and shit. And
no, it went through a Gmail account.
No, what I'm saying is, remember, the first guy said he got the name of a casting agent from a mutual friend of him and Sherry.
That was, that was one of the other victims.
Oh shit, yeah. Damn.
Yeah, that was one of the great things about it is that Sherry or Allison.
Sherry, Allison, god damn.
Yeah, they would take, hey, I've got this other thing from Allison. Can you pass this on to so-and-so that you think would make a good thing for this other movie or part? And so they would pass it. So she'd use her own victims,
fucking victims,
to get another victim.
Yes. Wow. This is like some borderline serial killer shit. And if people don't understand the magnitude behind it, like, you're an idiot.
You know what is really fucked up is that this is the kind of stuff that makes for great movies, but we just don't think that way. Even some of the
I thought it'd be a great Lifetime special. Yeah,
I mean, even some of the great movies that are out there, like the Jigsaw series. Actually, I only like the very first.
I like the second.
I like the first one, but even some of that sick, twisted stuff is like it doesn't.
Oh, it's crack.
Yeah, it doesn't match real life. This is real life. I'm going to use my own victims to go get me other victims, and they're going to do it unknowingly.
Like, what kind of perverted mess? You know, like, it's just a sick, twisted web of lies. And Sherry Pie, if you are listening to this, because I imagine someone as narcissistic as you is listening to any and everything with your name on it, I personally would like to tell you, you're a piece of shit. I just thought you should know how I felt about it.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in agreement, and I wish there was a law, but I'm not going to wish a law upon the mankind that's going to get a whole bunch of innocent people
locked up,
not doing anything just because of you. Because
stop being stupid.
Yeah, unfortunately, the only way we pass laws is when people do some sick, fucked up shit.
Mm-hmm.
Even stalking laws. We didn't have stalking laws until the 90s.
Yep.
I mean, until then, it was just like, deal with it.
Right?
You're famous.
Close your window. Close your window. Like, remember that woman who died on Paula Abdul's fucking porch or whatever? Like, in her front yard?
Yeah.
Crazy shit, man.
You're famous. It comes with the territory. Or you're very good looking. Kind of comes with the territory. Deal with it.
Yeah, that's another thing. You don't deserve that. If you guys are ever skeptical about something, make sure that you confront it and follow your instincts, I think. And really, if you believe something is false, just kind of follow up with it. Call the places that they're claiming to work for. I mean, it's not just a common scam with Sherry Pie. For some reason, people do it with jobs too.
Yeah, this is like all over the place.
So always just follow up. Always follow up. Like, rate, subscribe, share, comment, email.
Yeah, and if you do email us and you want to be on the show, please check your spam box, check your filters, because we do reply back.
We do.
We've had like 3 or 4 people that they requested to be on the show, we have replied back to them, and yeah, there's some kind of breakdown in communication. You got to let us know because we have to set up the dates and times in order to record. So if you want to be on the show, be sure to check your email.
Yep. And or send us a DM on Instagram or Facebook if you message
even
us
DMing on Instagram and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
make sure you actually log back in and check because we do message back.
Yeah, guys, check back. Don't just say, "Hey, I emailed them." Oh well. No, if you take the time to email us, we're going to take the time to reply to you. So at least let us know that you read it. And if you want to be on the show, you're pretty much welcome. Just about anyone. Except if you're trying to defend things we don't agree with, because I'm not going to entertain a conversation that defends people who call themselves maps. Have you heard of these people? They're disgusting. They're minor attracted people, and it's a real phenomenon.
No, it's not. It's not a phenomenon. It's been around since the beginning of time.
Well, no, it's the rebranding. Bible. Yeah, the rebranding of the pedophile is what's happening right now, and they're calling themselves maps.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Still a fucking sick fuck to me, man.
No.
Right. We're not gonna sit here
I'm not gonna entertain.
We wouldn't even give you the platform. I'll be completely honest with you. And that may sound biased, but it is because we are biased when it comes to offending things that are just ludicrous in the sense where they don't deserve to be defended.
Yeah, I'm not gonna defend anybody that's just immoral. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, we don't defend immorality. We also don't really engage in debates pretty much because it's not really necessary. We're both very well-rounded people with very non-linear thinking.
Yeah, I don't have problems with anybody who has a different point of view.
Right.
I'm going to agree to disagree. We can have an intelligent conversation about it. But if you're somebody who is against any kind of minority class or section of people, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, we don't do any of that stuff.
No.
That's
they have the right to their life.
Right.
So long as they are not injuring or hurting somebody else,
absolutely.
I don't friggin' care.
Yep.
So
that's it.
Yeah,
bottom line.
That's bottom line. I mean, they're not hurting anybody. They're after their own pursuit of happiness. You want to live in a mansion and they are happy in a trailer? I don't care.
Right, and I'll probably go visit their trailer and drink some fucking Pabst Blue Ribbon with them and have a great time.
Yeah.
So that's really how it goes, guys.
That's it. So we will catch you on the next one.
That's all for this episode of the Girls Ask Guys show, where all of us learn to master this thing called life together. For more answers to your questions on life and love, be sure to subscribe to the show so you don't miss a single episode. And head to girlsaskguyshow.com to submit your questions for a future episode or apply to be a guest on the show. Good luck out there, and we'll catch you next time, right here on the Girls Ask Guys show.